Hi everyone. So, do you know what is thermodynamics? Thermodynamics is all about the relationship between heat, work, temperature, and energy. In broad terms, thermodynamics deals with the transfer of energy from one place to another and from one form to another form. The key concept is that heat is a form of energy corresponding to a definite amount of mechanical work. What do you need to know about thermodynamics? You should know the three important laws. So, the first law of thermodynamics states that when energy passes as work, as heat, or with matter into or out of a system, the system internal energy changes in accord with the law of conservation of energy. Equivalently, perpetual motion machines of the first kind. Next, second law of thermodynamics. In a natural thermodynamics process, the sum of entropies of the interacting thermodynamic system increases. Equivalently, perpetual motion machines of the second kind. Third law of thermodynamics states that the entropy of a system approaches a constant value as the temperature approaches absolute zero, with the exception of a non-crystalline solids, example, glasses. The entropy of a system at absolute zero is typically close to zero.
The importance of food is obvious and essential. It provides us the nutrients and energy to develop and grow, be active and healthy, move, play, work, think and learn. Foods are directly related to our body and mental and social health because each food or liquid contains particular nutrition such as carbohydrates, protein, vitamins, mineral, fats and etc., which are very necessary for our physical and mental growth. Today, the life is so busy and fast that everyone is just running after time. People hardly get time to spend in the kitchen or cook every day, and everything they bring in bulk from market can be cooked food, raw food, vegetables, fruit, milk, meat or anything else. How does one keep food longer? There are multiple ways to keep food from going bad, such as drying, refrigeration, fermentation, canning, irradiation and the addition of chemicals. Today, the refrigerator has become the most important equipment of the kitchen. We need to keep the food inside the refrigerator since it slows down the bacterial growth. Bacteria starts growing when they have nutrients or food for them in the form of food, moisture, favorable temperature and other conditions which help them to grow. The growth is more between temperature 4.4 degrees Celsius to 60 degrees Celsius. The temperature of refrigerator is set at 4.4 degrees Celsius or below to protect the food. The refrigerator slows down the food's own natural processes that leads to a ripening and eventual decay.
We will discuss how refrigerator keeps food cool and keep it from going bad.
The question you face is, which path will you choose?
Food preservation prevents the growth of microorganisms or other microorganisms such as yeast. It also slows down the oxidation of fat that cause rancidity. Many processed food preservation involve more than one method. Freezing is also one of the most commonly used processes, both commercially and domestically, for preserving a very wide range of foods, including prepared foods that would not have required freezing in their unprepared state. As we all know, refrigerator is one of the most common household appliances to store food. But how does refrigerator works? Before we start, we need to know what is refrigerator first. A refrigerator is a household appliance which is delivered a cool temperature than the external environment. It makes the object cooler than the normal temperature. The cold temperature slows down the bacterial growth in food, and it preserves the food for a longer period. So, why we use a refrigerator? We use a fridge for keeping fresh food outside of bacteria. There are 4 laws of thermodynamics. The law describes the relationship between the thermal energy, heat, and other form of energy affect matter. Why did we talk about thermodynamics? Because the refrigerator is formed by the second law of thermodynamics. The second law of thermodynamics is talk about the quality of energy. It states that the energy is transferred or transformed. More and more of it is wasted. So state that there's a natural tendency of any isolated system to degenerate into more disordered state. For example, if we put a cold object into hot object, the cold object will become warmer and the hot object will become cooler. There are 5 main components in a refrigerator, which is expansion valve, compressor, evaporator, condenser, and refrigerant. Generally, a specialized gas is used for the vapor compressor cycle. It uses CFC gas, chlorofluorocarbon, but CFC affects the ozone layer and it affects the environment critically. Nowadays, R134A or ammonia gas are used for refrigerator gas. R134A is a low pressure refrigerant. It also very efficient for high temperature application. This makes it ideal in air conditioning application that may leak refrigerant like car air conditioning. It is safe for normal handling as it is non-toxic, non-flammable, and non-corrosive. It exists in gas form when exposed to the environment as the boiling temperature is -26.1 degrees Celsius. The working principle of a refrigerator is very simple. It involves the removal of heat from one region and its deposition to another. When you pass a low temperature liquid close to the object that you want to cool, heat from the object is transferred into the liquid and it evaporates, hence it will take away the heat in the process. You may already know that gases heat up when they are compressed and eventually expand when they are allowed to cool down. The tendency of gases to become hot when compressed and cool down when expand. With the help of a few nifty devices, helps a refrigerator to cool down the stuff being kept inside it. A refrigerator consists of 5 main components that play a vital role in the refrigeration process. First one, expansion valve. The valve holds back the high pressure liquid refrigerant from the condenser and controls how much refrigerant can pass into the evaporator. The valve decreases the pressure to allow the refrigerant to boil at lower temperatures. For example, we are used to water boiling at around 100 degrees Celsius. That's because most of us live near sea level, so the air around us is compressed by all the weight of the atmosphere above us. However, if we went higher up into the atmosphere, say to refrigerant will absorb the heat from the ambient air and carry this away to the compressor. The high pressure liquid refrigerant is forced through a small orifice which causes a pressure reduction as it passes through. During this pressure reduction, some of the refrigerant will evaporize and the rest will remain as liquid. A compressor is a mechanical device that increases the pressure of a gas by reducing its volume. An air compressor is a specific type of gas compressor. Compressors are similar to pumps, Both increase the pressure on the fluid, and both can transport the fluid through a pipe. As gases are compressible, the compressor also reduces the volume of a gas. Liquids are relatively incompressible. While some can be compressed, the main action of a pump is to pressurize and transport liquids. The compressor consists of a motor that sucks in the refrigerant from the evaporator and compresses it in a cylinder to make a hot, high-pressure gas. The solution containing the desired product is fed into the evaporator and passes across a heat source. The applied heat converts the water in the solution into vapor. The vapor is removed from the rest of the solution and is condensed, while the now concentrated solution is either fed into a second evaporator or is removed. The evaporator, as mentioned, generally consists of 4 sections. The heating section contains the heating medium, which can vary. Steam is fed into the section. The most common medium consists of parallel tubes, but others have plates or coils typically made from copper or aluminum. The concentrating and separating section remove the vapor being produced from the solution. The condenser condenses the separated vapor. Then, the vacuum or pump provides pressure to increase circulation. A condenser is a device or unit used to condense a gaseous substance into a liquid state through cooling. In so doing, the latent heat is released by the substance and transfers to the surrounding environment. Condensers can be made according to numerous designs and come in many sizes, ranging from rather small handheld to very large industrial scale units used in plant processes. For example, a refrigerator uses a condenser to get rid of heat extracted from the interior of the unit to the outside air. Condensers are used in air conditioning, industrial chemical processes such as distillation, steam power plants, and other heat exchange systems. Use of cooling water or surrounding air as the coolant is common in many condensers. A refrigerant is a substance or mixture, usually a fluid, used in a heat pump and refrigeration cycle. In most cycles, it undergoes fast transitions from a liquid to a gas and back again. Many working fluids have been used for such purposes. Fluorocarbons, especially chlorofluorocarbons, become commonplace in the 20th century, but they are being phased out because of their ozone depletion effects. Other common refrigerants used in various applications are ammonia, sulfur dioxide, and non-halogenated hydrocarbons such as propane. So, the process basically goes like this. At first, the refrigerant is compressed by the compressor until high temperature and it flows through the coil and releases the gas out. Then, the hot gas will meet with the atmosphere and it becomes liquid. After that, the liquid is forced through the expansion valve and it will cool down the fridge by absorbing the heat from the refrigerator. Lastly, the refrigerant will evaporate to gas and it will flow back to the compressor and the process is going over and over again. So that's basically how the refrigerator works. It prevents the growth of bacteria and it can keep foods fresh for a longer period of time. Thank you. Adios.